Atlanta roads are my thing. ITP, OTP, Ponce, Piedmont, all the Peachtrees. Combined with Chesley's street level forecast, that's a lot of tech and experience to help your commute.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
We're quite the combo.
Weather changes can make or break your day. That's why the 11 Alive Storm Trackers are always watching what's coming next, delivering accessible and accurate forecasts that prepare you, not scare you. The Storm Trackers, only on 11 Alive.
COVID-19 is still spreading in Georgia. Now get facts, not fear, at 11alive.com/COVID numbers. Track cases by county using our interactive map and get the latest health department data. Visit 11alive.com/COVID numbers.
Health experts fear we're just at the start of another surge.
Residents here are some of the first seniors to get the vaccine.
This epidemic can come to an end.
We do have a flash flood warning that just popped up here.
And the fallout of this is just beginning.
The bigger questions are the longer legal ramifications.
Morning news should be both informative and fun.
Gone are the days where we're speaking at you. On Morning Rush, we're speaking with you.
So connect with us. Talk to us.
Think of it as a conversation.
Morning Rush, weekdays, 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
Quick, open your phone camera right now, aim it at the screen to download 11 Alive's new and improved app. This QR code will take you to the App Store or Google Play. One simple tap gives you enhanced radar, street level zoom, and severe weather alerts. It's just that easy.
Morning news should be informative and fun.
Yeah, and we do that here on Morning Rush with Verify, Connect the Dots, Why Guy, and more.
We love learning about new things and sharing them with you.
We make the news make sense.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
The Negro people had to leave. They were told to get out.
White only, no black!
1912, all but one issue has been erased.
We haven't had none up here since the 1st of the century.
What's the importance of making sure this history isn't erased?
So that it doesn't happen again.
Is your morning routine feeling a little routine?
Then mix it up.
Morning Rush is different.
It's the fast-paced news you need
with all the energy of your morning coffee.
Come see the difference on Morning Rush, weekdays on 11 Alive.
Weather can't run from the all-new 11 Alive Thunder Truck, a mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge.
Here in Atlanta, bad weather means bad traffic. A few drops of rain could destroy a commute. But that's where my man Crash Clark comes in. I go street level, he goes next level. Together, we make sure you get to work on time. Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive. Hey, quick, open up your phone camera right now. Aim it at the screen to download 11 Alive's new and improved app. This QR code will take you right to the App Store or Google Play. One simple tap gives you enhanced radar, street level zoom, and severe weather alerts. It's just that easy.
Atlanta roads are my thing. ITP, OTP, Ponce, Piedmont, all the Peachtrees. Combined with Chesley's street level forecast, that's a lot of tech and experience to help your commute.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
We're quite the combo.
Weather changes can make or break your day. That's why the 11 Alive Storm Trackers are always watching what's coming next, delivering accessible and accurate forecasts that prepare you, not scare you. The Storm Trackers, only on 11 Alive.
COVID-19 is still spreading in Georgia. Now get facts, not fear, at 11alive.com/COVID numbers. Track cases by county using our interactive map and get the latest health department data. Visit 11alive.com/COVID numbers.
Health experts fear we're just at the start of another surge.
Residents here are some of the first seniors to get the vaccine.
This epidemic can come to an end.
We do have a flash flood warning that just popped up here.
And the fallout of this is just beginning.
The bigger questions are the longer legal ramifications.
Morning news should be both informative and fun.
Gone are the days where we're speaking at you. On Morning Rush, we're speaking with you.
So connect with us. Talk to us.
Think of it as a conversation.
Morning Rush, weekdays, 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
Quick, open your phone camera right now, aim it at the screen to download 11 Alive's new and improved app. This QR code will take you to the App Store or Google Play. One simple tap gives you enhanced radar, street-level zoom, and severe weather alerts. It's just that easy.
Morning news should be informative and fun.
Yeah, and we do that here on Morning Rush with Verify, Connect the Dots, Why Guy, and more.
We love learning about new things and sharing them with you.
We make the news make sense.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
The Negro people had to leave. They were told to get out.
White only, no black!
1912, all but one issue has been erased.
We haven't had none up here since the 1st of the century.
What's the importance of making sure this history isn't erased?
So that it doesn't happen again.
Is your morning routine feeling a little routine?
Then mix it up
Morning Rush is different.
It's the fast-paced news you need.
with all the energy of your morning coffee.
Come see the difference on Morning Rush, weekdays on 11 Alive.
Weather can't run from the all-new 11 Alive Thunder Truck, a mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge.
Here in Atlanta, bad weather means bad traffic. A few drops of rain could destroy a commute. But that's where my man Crash Clark comes in. I go street level, he goes next level. Together, we make sure you get to work on time. Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive. Hey, quick, open up your phone camera right now. Aim it at the screen to download 11 Alive's new and improved app. This QR code will take you right to the App Store or Google Play. One simple tap gives you enhanced radar, street-level zoom, and severe weather alerts. It's just that easy.
Atlanta roads are my thing. ITP, OTP, Ponce, Piedmont, all the peach trees. Combined with Chesley's street level forecast, that's a lot of tech and experience to help your commute.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
We're quite the combo.
Weather changes can make or break your day. That's why the 11 Alive Storm Trackers are always watching what's coming next, delivering accessible and accurate forecasts that prepare you, not scare you. For Storm Trackers, only on 11 Alive.
COVID-19 is still spreading in Georgia. Now get facts, not fear, at 11alive.com/COVID numbers. Track cases by county using our interactive map and get the latest health department data. Visit 11alive.com/COVID numbers.
Health experts fear we're just at the start of another surge.
Residents here are some of the first seniors to get the vaccine.
This epidemic can come to an end.
We do have a flash flood warning that just popped up here.
And the fallout of this is just beginning.
The bigger questions are the longer legal ramifications.
Morning news should be both informative and fun.
Gone are the days where we're speaking at you. On Morning Rush, we're speaking with you.
So connect with us. Talk to us.
Think of it as a conversation.
Morning Rush weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
Quick, open your phone camera right now, aim it at the screen to download 11 Alive's new and improved app. This QR code will take you to the App Store or Google Play. One simple tap gives you enhanced radar, street level zoom, and severe weather alerts. It's just that easy.
Morning news should be informative and fun.
Yeah, and we do that here on Morning Rush with Verify, Connect the Dots, Why Guy, and more.
We love learning about new things and sharing them with you.
We make the news make sense.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
The Negro people had to leave. They were told to get out.
White only, no black!
1912, all but one issue has been erased.
We haven't had none up here since the 1st century.
What's the importance of making sure this history isn't erased?
So that it doesn't happen again.
Is your morning routine feeling a little routine?
Then mix it up
Morning Rush is different.
It's the fast-paced news you need.
with all the energy of your morning coffee.
Come see the difference on Morning Rush weekdays on 11 Alive.
Weather can't run from the all-new 11 Alive Thunder Truck, a mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge.
Here in Atlanta, bad weather means bad traffic. A few drops of rain could destroy a commute. But that's where my man Crash Clark comes in. I go street level, he goes next level. Together, we make sure you get to work on time. Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive. Hey, quick, open up your phone camera right now. Aim it at the screen to download 11 Alive's new and improved app. This QR code will take you right to the App Store or Google Play. One simple tap gives you enhanced radar, street level zoom, and severe weather alerts. It's just that easy.
Atlanta roads are my thing. ITP, OTP, Ponce, Piedmont, all the peach trees. Combined with Chesley's street level forecast, that's a lot of tech and experience to help your commute.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
We're quite the combo.
Hey.
Thank you.
Let's find her.
All right, let's go find her.
All right. I hope we can surprise her.
Grandma, someone wants to talk to you.
Hi, Miss Elizabeth. It's Hoda and Jenna from your show.
Hey,
how are you?
Yeah, I'm making it. Trying to see another
Weather
day.
changes can make or break your day.
You got another day.
That's
It's
why the
okay if we
11 Alive
record you
storm
guys,
trackers
right?
are always watching what's coming next. Delivering accessible and accurate forecasts that prepare you,
Okay,
not
well,
scare you.
Miss
The storm
Elizabeth, we want to tell you that your granddaughter nominated you to
COVID-19
be
is still
our
spreading in
fan
Georgia.
of the week
Now
because she
get facts,
just
not
says that
fear
you're
at
one of the most
11alive.com
incredible women.
numbers.
And
Track cases by county
we wanted to
using
see
our
if you wanted to
interactive
play a
map
little
and get the
game with
latest
us,
health
the
department
two of
data.
you.
Visit 11alive.com/COVID
Yes.
numbers.
Is that okay? All right, let's go. So here we go. Here's our game. It's a little trivia
Health
game, and
experts
here's what
we're
we're going to
just at
ask
the
you.
start
Earlier
of
this
another
week,
surge.
Jenna traveled to her home
Residents here are
state
some of the first
to
seniors
honor
to get
a
the
very
vaccine.
special
This
teacher. Do you know
epidemic
where
can come to
Jenna
an end.
went when she went to her home
We
state?
do have a flash flood warning that
Where
just
did
popped
Jenna
up
go?
here.
Where did Jenna go this
The
week?
fallout of this is
Texas?
just beginning.
Bigger questions are the longer legal ramifications.
Elizabeth and Destiny, we want to send both of you a $500
Morning
gift
news should
card
be
to
both
Ulta
informative
Beauty for
and
all
fun.
of your
Gone are the
beauty
days where
So
needs.
you
we're
each get
speaking
that.
at
So
you.
we hope
On Morning Rush, we're speaking
yes,
with you.
indeed.
So connect
We
with
just
us.
want to say thank you,
Think of it as a
Destiny. Thank you, Miss
conversation.
Elizabeth.
Morning Rush
We love
weekdays,
you.
5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
Just love y'all.
Open
And
your
happy
phone
to see
camera
y'all
right now,
every day.
aim it at the
Every
screen
day.
to download 11 Alive's new and improved app. This
Hey,
QR
I just
code will take you to the App
love
Store
everybody
or
on
Google Play.
the
One simple tap gives you
program,
enhanced
you know,
radar,
today's-
street level zoom, and
Today's
severe
show,
weather
that's my
alerts.
show.
It's just that
Today's
easy.
show is my
Morning
show.
news should be informative
We
and
love you,
fun.
Miss Elizabeth.
Yeah, and
we
we
love you,
do that
Destiny.
here on
Thank you
Morning
so
Rush
much.
with Verify, Connect
and
the
if
Dots,
you
Why
want to
Guy,
be one of
and
our most
more.
loyal
We
viewers,
love
you want to
learning about
nominate
new
somebody who has
things
head to
and sharing them with
HodaJenna.com
you.
and maybe
We
we'll
make
call
the
you
news make sense.
Morning
Okay,
Rush,
up next,
weekdays
some
5 to
kids
7
secretly
on
tell us
11
how they
Alive.
really feel about the
Negro
As we
people
head off
had to
for a
leave.
surprise
They were told
destination,
to get
it's
out.
time for our first Today Takes You clue, and here it is. This is the only country in the
1912, all
world
but one
with
issue
three
has
capital
been
cities.
erased.
Okay, think about
We
it.
haven't
Don't
had
Google
none up
it.
here since
we
the
don't
1st
know,
century.
but we'll be back right after
What's the importance
this.
of making sure this history isn't erased?
so that it doesn't happen again.
Clara heard gained scent beads could make her gained scent last way longer. But she
Is your
wouldn't
morning
believe
routine
it
feeling a
until
little
she sniffed it.
Then mix it up. Morning Rush is different.
So when her sheets still smelled amazing
With all
days
the energy
later,
of your morning coffee.
she was surprised.
Come see the difference.
The more nights that go
Morning
by,
Rush,
the more
weekdays
surprised
on
she
11 o'clock.
gets.
Weather
Her husband
can't
Ron,
run from the
he's
all-new
plenty
11
surprised
Alive
too.
Thunder Truck, a mobile
Try
weather
gained
center
scent
with the
beads for
power
scent that
and
lasts
speed
longer than
to chase
detergent
down the
alone.
strongest odor
Guaranteed.
and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by
Seriously?
Landmark Dodge.
But it's a total train
Here in
wreck.
Atlanta,
It's
bad weather
obvious that
means
you've put a
bad
lot of
traffic.
work into it.
Drops of rain.
She's
could
probably
destroy a
happy
commute.
because she found
But
out honey
that's
nut
where my man
Cheerios can help
Crash
lower
Clark comes in.
cholesterol. Does anyone want
I
to
go
go on a
street
bike
level,
ride?
he goes next level. Together, we make sure you get to work on it. Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive. Hey, quick, open up your phone camera right now. Aim it at the screen to download 11 Alive's new and improved
That's right.
app.
TurboTax
This
Free
QR
Edition
code
is
right to
free.
the App
Free.
Store or
Free,
Google
free,
Play.
free.
One simple tap gives you enhanced radar.
My tip
street
is
level zoom.
the
and
worse
severe
lies
weather
are the
alert.
lies you
It's
tell
just that
yourself.
easy.
Atlanta
Like
roads are my
smoking
thing.
isn't that
ITP,
dangerous.
OTP, Ponce, Piedmont, all the Peachtrees. Combined with Chesley's
You
street
can
level
quit.
forecast.
For free help,
that's a
call
lot of
1-800-QUIT
tech
now.
experience to help your
Today,
commute.
stronger
Morning
immunity
Rush,
and better
weekdays 5 to
nutrition
7
are
on
more
11
important
Alive.
than ever.
Quite the
That's why
combo.
Eggland's Best gives you and your family more. And that
And good morning. We're interrupting the Today Show with breaking news. Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms about to speak direct. First time since announcing late last night that she will not run for a second term. Let's go to her live now.
So someone said to me yesterday, whatever you do, don't cry. But for God's sake, don't have an ugly cry. So, I am a much better writer than I am speaker. So I wish that I could have written something profound to say to you this morning. But the only thing that I could write my notes this morning was faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Several weeks ago, I wrote 2 letters to Atlanta. One was a letter if I made the decision to not run for mayor again, and the other was a letter if I made the decision to stay in the mayor's race. And remarkably, they were essentially the same letters. This has been my highest honor to serve as mayor of this city. And many of you all have heard me speak of my family's history in the city, going back almost 100 years. My grandmother would tell me how her father, who was a child of people who were once enslaved from Crawfordsville, Georgia, packed up a horse and buggy, and they made their journey to Atlanta. And my family moved to the west side of Atlanta. And they found community, and they found purpose, and they found a way to make the lives of their children better. And I stand here on their shoulders. So my love for this city was a love planted in my heart long before I was formed in my mother's womb. And I wish that I could tell you there was a moment or that there was a thing. But when you have faith and you pray for God's wisdom and guidance, in the same way that it was very clear to me almost 5 years ago that I should run for mayor of Atlanta, it is abundantly clear to me today that it is time to pass the baton on to someone else. I am immensely proud of the men and women whom I have served with. I could not ask for a better team of people who have a heart and a love for the people of this city. Many questions have been asked. Is it something to do with my family? And I've told you all, my husband Derek, who actually came out today, you all don't get to see Derek very much. He's always said, whatever you do, I'm with you, just don't mess up my good job. So last night I said, you got to take back over the health insurance benefits. He said, I think I can handle that. And I'm grateful for that. But the last 3 years have not been at all what I would have scripted for our city. 3 months into our term, there was the biggest cyber attack in the history of a municipality in America. A federal investigation that seemed to literally suck the air out of City Hall into the previous administration. There was last summer, there was a pandemic, there was a social justice movement, there was a madman in the White House. And at every turn and every opportunity, this city rose above, and I am so proud of that. And what I know is that in the absence of my speaking my truth, people will insert a narrative, which is why I'm here today. Roz Brewer is my girl. I love her dearly. But she didn't get to be the CEO of Walgreens by offering jobs to random friends. I am not going to Walgreens in Chicago. Derek is not going to Walgreens in Idaho. I can't get Derek to move 2 miles off of Cascade Road. So I promise you that is not true. I don't know what's next for me personally and for our family. But what I do know is that this is a decision made from a position of strength and not weakness. I've raised the money. I had the most successful fundraiser of any mayor in the history of this city with President Joe Biden. I polled it. Nearly 70% of the people in this city still like me. If the race for mayor were held today, I would win this race without a runoff. That's not me making it up. I've seen the poll numbers. And even with all of those things that I know to be true and I know what I could do, just because you can do it doesn't always necessarily mean that you should do it. I can be mayor again, but there's a reason that there are elections every 4 years, and in the same way the people have the opportunity to make a decision every 4 years, candidates also have the opportunity to make a decision. And the decision that I have made after thoughtful prayer and consideration is not to seek another term as mayor of this city. So with that, I am going to open up for any questions that you have.
Mayor, are you done with electoral politics? And I ask that because you just mentioned the money, and you have the option of that money you've raised to hold that money for potentially a campaign down the line. Is that possible, or are you going to return those funds, or what's your option?
So this morning, if my donors have not already gotten a letter, they will get one shortly offering to refund the money and the donations that they have made to my campaign. You can't transfer campaign funds from one campaign to another campaign. And people very generously gave to our campaign, and I think it's only appropriate that I offer to return those funds to them. In terms of the future, I don't know what the future holds for me. I know I will be mayor until the first Tuesday in January. And what I have always said is that I want to leave the city better than I found it. So I will keep doing all of the things that we have done each and every day. We are going to keep working on affordable housing. We are going to continue to work to make sure that people who are living on our streets have a home and the supportive services that they need. And we are going to continue to do every single thing in our power to make the city safer.
Mayor Bottoms, you talked about in the past, you talked about Mayor, you talked about not running. Was there anything in particular that you could point to that you can say that is something that's helping me make this decision, or is this just going on faith? I know you mentioned the faith and praying and talking about this. And a follow-up question, there's a lot of talk about former Mayor Kasim Reed possibly jumping into the race. Your thoughts on that?
So, Dave, the short answer, there was not one thing. I've talked about it so much that literally my husband told me he was not going to discuss it with me anymore. And I am very grateful for the people who I have talked to and sought their counsel who kept my confidence. This is not something I woke up and decided yesterday. This is something I've been thinking about for a very long time. And I joke, but really seriously, a tornado came down my street, literally, just a few days ago. And it was just this reminder of moments and things are bigger than one person. And quite honestly, if there were a person who I knew could step up and be the mayor that this city needs, I likely would have made another decision when I was offered a cabinet position. But I wanted to finish what I started, and I didn't see who could step in and lead the city. And the voters will decide who that person is. And in my multitude of conversations with God about this, I am not God. I don't know who else he's speaking to and who else will take us to the next step. But what I do, I have a pretty good idea of the people it should not be, but that will be for the voters of Atlanta to decide. And that's part of the reason behind my timing and making this announcement now, to give a candidate who perhaps won't be a self-funded candidate. It's easy for someone wealthy to write themselves a check and run for office, but to give someone an opportunity to truly go out, fundraise, organize a campaign.
Did you talk to former Mayor Kasim Reed about this at all? About running?
No.
Mayor, do you think some of the criticism against you has been unfair?
That comes with the territory. That comes with, my kids criticized me last night. I mean, I think my house is a microcosm of the electorate across this city. One said, "Mommy, I'm so proud of you. That was the best decision." And another one said, "Why would you do that? What are you thinking?" And then the back and forth, and one said, "You'll never be on time for school again. I hope you know that." I mean, so, I can't satisfy my own household. So criticism comes with the job. You shouldn't put yourself out if you can't take the criticism.
Mayor, is there anything that stands out to you just emotionally about these last years that really
sort of put this in framework, because obviously you mentioned some of the lowlights of what's happened. What will you remember fondly, and what really impacted you in a negative way?
Well, I know this is a big press conference because you're back in City Hall. Thank you, Ryan. Mama, we made it. The highlights really have been the last year, that when this city faced the toughest of times and there was no playbook, there was no handbook, there was no leadership in the White House, we were at odds with the state, that we stepped up and we did it the Atlanta way. We served 119,000 meals. We got $88 million in CARES Act funding. When was the last time the city of Atlanta has gotten that much money and there not be a scandal attached to it? $80 million of that went out into our communities. The men and women, our firefighters, our police officers, our sanitation workers never stopped working through the pandemic. The vast majority of our workforce never stopped in the midst of the pandemic. That makes me proud. We created a Strength and Beauty Fund. We gave money to cosmetologists and barbers. We gave money to small businesses. We gave money to the creative industry. We stood in the gap for so many people in what was the toughest and most difficult of times, and not having any blueprint on how to do it, and we got it right. That makes me proud.
Mayor Bottoms, can I ask about life on the other side? Is there a life for you that's better, or a job for you that's better than being mayor of Atlanta?
If there is, I don't know it. I don't know what it is. And it, you know, that is scary. But as a very dear friend of mine, Vicki Palmer, said to me, it's not faith if you know what's on the other side. And you know, as far as I know, the only mayor who sought not to run for re-election was Maynard Jackson when he came back the second time. So this is something that's not ordinary, but I don't believe that I was created and elected mayor because I'm ordinary. So I know in the same way that I knew what I knew when it was time to put myself forward to run for mayor, I am quite sure I will know what I know when the next opportunity comes.
Can you talk about your goals for public safety for the remainder of your term?
Absolutely. My goals for public safety are to make sure that this city is safe. We've had a very challenging year in this city, and we are unfortunately not alone. Across the country, we've seen a spike in crime, and it has so much to do with people emerging from this pandemic. People have died. People are dealing with anxiety. They're dealing with depression. Everybody's house has not been a safe place for them. Some of us have found refuge in our homes, and for other people, it's a nightmare. I know that even from City Hall, trying to get people not to come into City Hall, because for so many people, walking out the door every day is their safe place. So we are facing a spike in crime that I will continue to do everything I can do alongside Chief Brian and the other men and women of this city to make sure that this city is safe. And I'm doing that not because I'm mayor, but because I'm a mother in this city. This is where my family lives. So I want this city to be safe for my family in the same way that I want it to be safe for everybody else who's standing in this room.
What's your hope for the next leader working under state leadership? You've had a less than ideal working relationship with Governor Kemp. What's your hope for the next person who takes this office in their relationship with leadership that is critical of Atlanta?
You know, Governor Kemp and I have agreed on the things that we can agree on. You know, unfortunately, there's been a great divide on many issues with the state, and I didn't even mention the fight to maintain control of the airport that this city built. That is something that has come up repeatedly in our challenges with the state. So it is my hope that the next mayor will have a good working relationship with our state leaders, agree on the things that you can agree on, and respectfully agree on the things that you cannot. There are, unfortunately, a number of things that I disagree with the governor on, but it has not stopped us from working together on those things that we do agree on.
Mayor, you talked about your various accomplishments. What about failures? If you had a chance for a do-over, what would you do differently?
I think the thing that I would do differently is that I likely would have asked for resignations sooner than 100 days into office. I would have changed the leadership team in City Hall much sooner. 100 days was not that long, but I can say many of the challenges that I saw on day one were the challenges that I've faced on day 100. And so much about it is just a leadership style. Different people need different people working beside them. And it's not that many of these men and women weren't strong leaders in their own right. They weren't the strongest leaders for me and what I needed in terms of my leadership team.
Mayor, a question about the next 8 months. Political leaders' clout can wane if other leaders, public and private, see them as a short timer. How are you going to keep that from happening for your next 8 months to be effective?
You know, Morris, I've never had it easy in City Hall. That's just the reality. So the challenges that I had on day one, I'm sure will likely be the challenges on the way out the door. But I've never cowered from a fight, and I've never backed down from anything that was difficult. So I'm going to continue to push on those things that I know to be right on behalf of our community. Someone said to me many years ago, the first time I ran for office, they said, whatever you do, you should always be able to go back home. So in everything that I do it wanting to be able to walk through my community and through the grocery store with my head held high. I can think of one vote since I've been in City Hall that I asked City Council to pass that I was not aligned with. One vote. And that was in the first 3 months of my term. Since then, everything I've ever put before City Council, I put it forth because I believe in it.
What was that vote?
It was on the North Side Bridge.
Did the backlash from Officer Garrett Robb being reinstated play into your decision?
Absolutely not. The hard part was last year. You know, and I firmly believe it was the right decision. If you go back to last summer and the challenges that we were facing in this city, and there were so many peaceful protests going on across this city, but there were people seeking to wreak havoc as well. And I'm not going to get too far into that, but I firmly believe, had I not made that decision, that this city would have seemed much worse. And part of the reason that I am, and I said this a couple of days ago, so confident in the leadership of Chief Ryan, because he's not afraid to tell me when he disagrees with me. It doesn't mean that we will agree and he's going to do what I tell him to do and he's going to do, and vice versa. But I believe it was the right decision. I stand by that. And I've said repeatedly, holding our officers accountable doesn't mean that I respect our officers, but you can hold them accountable and also be respectful of the job that they do and the way that they put themselves in harm's way each and every day. But I firmly believe that the decision I made last year in the midst of all that was happening in our city was the right decision. I disagree with the ruling. Our position has been steadfast that we followed the procedures that needed to be followed. Circumstances. The board disagreed, which was their right to disagree. But if I had to do it over again, I would do it the same way.
Do you intend to appeal that decision?
I'll talk with our attorneys about that.
Mayor Bottoms, can you talk about the first time you felt like you heard that voice tell you inside that you shouldn't run again? Do you remember where you were and what the circumstances were?
You know, it's really interesting. I can't say I heard a voice. It wasn't like Noah, go build an ark. It wasn't that, but I felt it my first year, and I can't describe it, but I wasn't sure that I would run again.
Your message to the citizen.
Mayor Bottoms, there's an adage for black women that says we choose when and where we enter. If you would, what would you say to young black women, young black girls? They may look upon your decision, and what would you like to say to them as you exit the office?
That there is a divine voice that lives inside of each of us. And for me, I know that it is my compass. And it may not always make sense to anyone else, and really it's not intended to make sense to anyone else. But when you know what you know, it becomes less and less important what other people think. And it becomes less and less important whether or not you are afraid.
What's going to happen to the Atlanta City Jail?
What was that?
You have a vision for the Atlanta City Jail of turning it into something other than what it is right now, but there's pushback in City Hall. In the next 8 months, do you think you're going to be able to see that through?
I sure hope so. But leadership sometimes is about gracefully passing off the baton to the next person to carry it and finish what you started. We have done more in terms of criminal justice and social reform during the 3 years that I've been in office than any mayor that I know of. I still believe that the systemic issues that are leading to people making poor decisions has everything to do with us not having the ability to offer people resources. So when I talk about reimagining the Atlanta City Jail, it's about people having a physical place that they can walk into and say, I need help. I need a job. I need GED training. I need daycare for my child because I don't work from 9 to 5. I work from 11 to 7. That's what I envision for the jail. The jail has not housed violent criminal offenders in decades. We're not talking about rapists. We're not talking about murderers. We're not talking about people who carjack people. They have not been in that jail in over a decade. What we are talking about are people with minor offenses, poor people who can't pay $200 to get out of jail and then lose their job because they can't pay their car note, and then they get in trouble because they can't pay their child support. So when we talk about reimagining that place, it is about offering a physical place for people to access services to make their lives better.
All right, two more. Two more questions. Two more.
Is that a Democratic Party to help recruit a new candidate, or will you be working with the party to find someone to succeed?
No, the short answer is no. And let me just say this. I don't believe any one person anoints a successor. It doesn't work like that. It may have worked like that many, many years ago, but it hadn't worked like that in a long time. Nobody, not any one person. My one vote is the same one vote as the person who's going to come through and sweep up when we leave. So I don't think that I have the ability to anoint someone as my successor, but I certainly at the appropriate time will make it known who I will cast my vote for. What's that?
Knowing the opposition on council to closing the jail and knowing that several of the people who either are running or rumored to run don't want to close it, how important is it for you to try to get a closure date on the books before you leave office?
I would love to have a closure date on the books. And what is most liberating about not running for office, that conversation can be moved off the table about any decisions that I'm making because I'm running for re-election. So I want to keep pushing for the closure in the same way I started pushing for it my first year in office. I'm not going to let up.
To your critics, speaking of the timing and making this decision out of faith, not fear, speak to those who want to criticize you, especially given the news of this week that you're folding under pressure. How do you want to go out and speak to those people?
I've dealt with pressure. I started dealing with pressure when I was 8 years old, and I saw my father being let out of our house in handcuffs. So if anybody thinks a decision about reinstating an employee would run me out of office, is someone who doesn't know me very well. I didn't fold under pressure last summer. I didn't fold under pressure when I ran against 15 other people for mayor. I didn't fold under pressure when I ran against 10 other people when I ran for city council. I didn't fold under pressure when I took on an incumbent in my first election that I lost, but I still got up and I did it again. So I may bend, but I will never break.
Mayor Bottoms, the election to come is likely to be turned into a bidding war on criminal justice issues. With your exit from the race, do you believe that puts progressive reforms on criminal justice at risk?
I think reform on criminal justice is at risk, period. The will that we had in my first year in office in 2018, the entire nation was favoring criminal justice reform. What I see now with the uptick in crime across the country is that we're going back the other way as a country, back to lock them all up and throw away the key. And the danger in that is that it gets us to moments like this. So we have to do short-term things to address issues in our communities with crime, but you have to think long-term on how you break those systemic issues that lead people to make decisions to commit crimes.
Did you like being mayor, Mayor Bottoms? Did you like being mayor?
Did I like being mayor? I did. I did. It's a hard job. It's a very hard job, but I mean, there are people who get up every day and do things much harder than this. And they don't have the support and the team that I have around me. So yeah, I love being mayor.
What were your expectations during your inauguration for this job versus the reality of your administration?
I'd never anticipated a social justice movement. I never anticipated a pandemic. I knew there was a madman in the White House, but I didn't know what it would feel like to lead under those circumstances. So there were so many unscripted things. But the things that I spoke of in my inauguration are still the things that are meaningful to me. Making our communities better, giving opportunities to people across the city. If you remember, I did my inauguration at Morehouse College, the west side of Atlanta, and I did it for a reason. Because I wanted people to see that this physical place of community was important to me. Affordable housing is still important to me. The $1 billion goal, it's why we are already over $500 million there. All of those things still matter to me.
Once you leave office, in what capacity do you expect to help the city continue moving forward, particularly in those areas?
I will be available in any way that I possibly can without interfering with the next mayor's term. And unfortunately, that hasn't been the case always during my term. Elise is telling me to stop talking. At least I am mayor until the first Tuesday in January, okay? As I was saying. I think when you walk forward, you can't walk forward with looking over your shoulder. So I will be available in any way I possibly can.
Are you more interested in a role in the Biden administration now?
What's that?
Would you be more interested in a role in the Biden administration after this?
You know, we'll see. I can tell you, being mayor with President Biden in the White House has made a world of difference. The ability to pick up the phone and have someone that you can call with an expectation that they will help you and not harm you is something that I've not experienced, and I'm very grateful to at least have this year to experience that type of leadership.
Mayor, do you have more information on your working group on crime? Who's on that group? The governor's pushed back, saying another meeting isn't going to make a difference with the crime we're seeing in the city.
Well, if the governor feels that way, that's probably why we're having a crime wave across the state. You put everything that you have into fighting crime. You use every tool in your toolbox. So we're not going to stop meeting. We're not going to stop working. We're not going to stop pushing. We're not going to stop fighting. So to answer your question, we were still making calls to confirm the members, and as soon as we have everyone confirmed, we'll release those names. I don't know, it may even be today.
You're
All right.
emotional, and we know you love the city of Atlanta, but is it like there's been a weight lifted off of your shoulders?
To the extent the weight has been lifted, it is the decision and speaking it not to run. And I can't say enough about my husband, Derek, and just the love and support that he continues to give me. And the great thing about being from this city and being from what I call this village of Atlanta, I have people friends I've made in kindergarten, who will love and support me personally, whether I'm mayor or not. So part of the delay in my decision was the guilt. Am I doing harm to my city by not running for mayor again? But there's a reason I did not take the opportunity to go to the White House. I signed up for 4 years. 4 years. Those 4 years are almost up, and the voters have a right to make a decision, and so do I. And this is the decision that I've made, but it is a very difficult decision.
Mayor, there was something you said earlier that I think is really interesting. I want to come back to it. You said that one of the mistakes that you may have made was not asking for resignations within the first 100 days. I have long believed that you may have had trouble trusting the people broadly who work in your administration, like because of this ongoing FBI investigation. And you said in your letter that a lot of people here have felt afraid of making a mistake because they were afraid that they'd be castrated by us.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to trust the people you were working with enough?
I can't say. I would imagine it's when I got my team in place. And I think that's not particular to this administration. I think that's just the nature of the beast. And as my husband said to me one day, it's not really paranoia if they really are out to get you. And, that's the nature of being an elected official. And again, it's, every leadership team is about synergy and who fits with the person's leadership style. And, you only think I shed tears today. When I talked to my cabinet last night, I am so honored to work alongside the people whom I work with every day.
What advice and priorities do you hope the next mayor has for Atlanta?
That will be for the next mayor, but I can tell you what needs to continue. the work to close the income gap in the city, the work to make sure that this city is still affordable for everyday working people, the work to make sure that the people who are still living on our streets have access to the services they need to be healthy and whole. That's the work that will never end.
Mayor, what is your response to the ethics violation for the campaign contribution back in 2017? Where do you stand with that today?
The ethics from
contribution,
that's
2017.
That's been resolved.
And what is your position on that today? I mean,
My position was made clear when we resolved it, that it was not intentional. The ethics board agreed with that, and we resolved it. Y'all just making up questions now, right? Okay. Thank you all.
Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms addressing reporters for the first time since making that bombshell announcement late last night that she would not be seeking a second term. You can see her walking out of City Hall there with her husband, Derek, by her side. A really honest conversation, a really honest news briefing by the mayor this morning, pretty much saying that she is not folding under pressure and that, quote, I may bend, but I will never break. There's been a lot of discussion about why she's not seeking a second term. She would only say that there was not one thing that led to her decision, but said that the last 3 years have not been, quote, what I would have scripted. And she referred to the cyber attack on the city at the very beginning of her administration in 2018, the federal investigation, the COVID-19 pandemic, the social justice movement, and, quote, the madman in the White House, referring to former President Trump. Also, the spiking crime rates has brought her administration under fire as of late. Now, where she's heading, she says she doesn't know, and vehemently denied that she would be going to Walgreens. There have been some rumors swirling about that as well. So she said no Walgreens. As far as a role in the White House, whether that's a possibility, she said, we'll see. As far as who could be replacing her, she says she doesn't see who could lead the city when deciding on whether to take this job. And, quote, I have a good idea of who it should not be. Right now, we know that there are two people running for mayor. That is City Council President Felicia Moore and attorney Sharon Gay, who was the former counsel to then Mayor Bill Campbell. All right, I want to turn now to our political reporter, Doug Richards. He is at City Hall. Watch that entire press briefing. Doug, at the beginning of the mayor's press briefing, she was very emotional. Can you tell me the mood in the room then at the beginning of the press conference? It started around 10:11 a.m. You could see her at the end of the press conference with a tissue in her hand, but we weren't able to see the people around her, her aides, the interim police chief, the communications team. What was the mood of her staff when she was very emotional at the beginning?
Well, it was certainly going into it, there was sort of a somberness that the staff and the supporters of Keisha Lance Bottoms in the room exhibited. This is a decision that obviously a lot of these folks had hoped that she would not make in the way that she made it, in that, you know, they liked her as mayor and they wanted her to continue. They agreed with her that she would win re-election. When she predicted that had she run, she would have won re-election. So I think a lot of people at City Hall are very disappointed. And yet at the same time, you know, you saw perhaps Derek Bottoms standing about 7 feet away from the mayor, just watching. And you could tell that, you know, I mean, Keisha Lance Bottoms is a mom, in addition to being an attorney and in addition to being a politician. She has 4 children. The youngest, I think, are 8. She has a son who's going into college. And she has a husband who had long-term COVID for much of the last year. And so she's had challenges, not only the ones that she talked about, just being the mayor of Atlanta, but also challenges in her family, raising a normal family of 4 children, in addition to having a husband battling COVID-19. And he's obviously much better now. I'm told that he still has some lingering symptoms, but he was obviously well enough to come here today, and he looked great. So, yeah, it was an unexpected development, obviously, overnight, not only to those of us who watch news in Atlanta, but also to a lot of the people here who found out last night that this was her decision.
Doug, a lot of folks that are not in the mayor's political circle are saying that it is a surprise. But I spoke to 3 folks last night, 3 sources, who were not surprised by this decision at all. One source even told me that they knew about it a couple months ago. The mayor saying that several weeks ago she wrote 2 letters. One saying that she would seek a second term, the other one that she would not. And it's not something she woke up and decided yesterday. I mean, even with that video, Dear Atlanta, it looks like it took a few days to put that together. Also, that heartfelt letter that she wrote as well, that takes a few days to put together here. One interesting note I got out of this press conference here, Doug, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. Someone asked her when she had this stirring feeling that she didn't want to seek a second term, and she said that she felt it her first year. One of my insiders tells me that there had been rumors, even before she got into the race, that she didn't want to do it. What did you make about her thinking about that, her first year not wanting to seek a second term?
Well, certainly when she compiled the challenges that she faced in her first year as mayor, that certainly mayors Kasim Reed or Shirley Franklin or even Bill Campbell, who was mayor during the Olympics, did not face. You could see how this administration faced challenges that were very unique and very difficult that other mayors have not had to face. The other mayors obviously face challenges of their own in different ways, but the ones that she talked about in her early in her term and during really her 4 years, including having a hostile character in the White House, to the desires of Democratic cities, Democratic-dominated cities, you can't understate that. So. Yeah, the fact that she that the light started to shine a little bit in her mind about not running again in her first term speaks volumes. She said at the end of the press conference that she liked being mayor of Atlanta. I don't think, but you could tell that if she loved being mayor of Atlanta, she would have run for a second term.
And she said it in the past tense as well, Doug. She said, "I did like being mayor of Atlanta." Yeah. All right, we appreciate your time, Doug Richards. All right, we'll see you back here. We do have a new newscast, 11:30 and 12, and we'll see you back then for that. Earlier today, I spoke with 11 Alive political analyst Andra Gillespie about the mayor's decision and who could be entering the race. Let's take a listen to that.
Mayor Bottoms was going in with some strengths. She was going in with incumbency advantage. She was going in with strong approval ratings. So there was, a poll that whose top lines were released this week that suggested that Mayor Bottoms was in a pretty strong position. So her exit from this race opens the field up. And so I think the bigger question is, are we going to see nearly a dozen candidates run this time as ran 4 years ago, or will one of the existing candidates consolidate the field?
And again, we have City Council President Felicia Moore running, Attorney Sharon Gay, who has filed paperwork to run. There are a number of candidates as well. Their names have been swirling in political circles, including former Atlanta Mayor Kasim Reed, whether he will run again. I want to turn now to 11 Alive reporter Caitlin Ross. She's also at City Hall. And Caitlin, I understand you were at the mayor's press briefing earlier this week where she addressed violence in the city, and she dropped a hint about her decision. It sounded unintentional, but here we are.
It was really clear that she has been thinking about that for a long time. The exchange that you're talking about is when she was talking about appointing Chief Bryant, the Atlanta police chief, to a permanent position. And she said in that exchange, we're going to need a police chief here in Atlanta long after I'm gone. And so that did, at the time, you're right, raise some eyebrows, like, wait a minute, aren't you running for re-election? Aren't you going to have 4 more years to think about this? But she definitely was very circumspect in that conversation. When she was talking today, she said that still remains the highest priority of her administration, is figuring out public safety, working with Atlanta police, figuring out how to get the crime rate under control. But that was definitely a very telling portion of that news conference. But was even more telling was she says she's been thinking about this since her first year as mayor. This didn't come as a surprise to people who were immediately close to her, but I did just speak with someone who's been working for her administration for the past year and a half, 2 years, and they said it threw them for a loop. They weren't expecting it. So it seems like it was a pretty closely guarded secret, but for people within her really immediate circle, they knew this was coming.
All right, Caitlin Ross, thank you. And so the mayor has 8 months left in office. She has vowed to complete her term, 6 months until the mayoral race that is in November. So again, the 60th mayor of Atlanta, Keisha Lance Bottoms, announcing that she will not seek a second term. She is the second black female mayor in the history of the city of Atlanta, elected back in 2017, serving since 2018. We will, of course, continue to stay on top of this breaking news story for you, both on the 11 Alive app, 11alive.com, and the 11 Alive YouTube channel. We'll be back here with more news for you at 11:30 a.m. See you then.
It's time for the people to win.
Good morning, everyone. It is a fantabulous Friday. Well, of course, because it's Friday, but also because I get to see and hear from one of my most favorite people. I miss him so much. Please welcome the one and only Crash Clark, filling in for our very own Kara Kinnear. Crashy, I was getting ready this morning and I was listening to the 70s station on my little Alexa, yes, and it made me see, she's right here. She thought I was talking to her. Yeah, no, and it just totally reminded me of you because we love our 70s music.